All right, joining us tonight, we have none other than Katarina Leigh Waters. Katarina, thanks for joining us.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, let's get right in. You wrestled for several companies in England before wrestling in America. Which style was harder to learn, and was there a specific style that was your favorite?
Well, I mean, are you asking me style in terms of whether British or American?
Yeah.
Right. Well, when I started in England, a lot of the promotions were using, kind of the Americanized style. So that's pretty much what I learned. The proper traditional old school English wrestling style with their specific sequences and stuff I didn't really learn at the time.
All right.
So I have to say I sort of went right into, what you guys or us here would do.
Sure.
Should we say. Yeah.
Well, now, when you came to America, what was your ultimate goal when you started wrestling here? Was there any specific place you wanted to be, or?
Well, I came to America signed with WWE, so that was pretty much, I guess, that would be where I wanted to be and get better at, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then, TNA was another goal, and then I was lucky enough to go there as well.
All right. Now,
that's quite fortunate.
Yeah. When you finally made it here, what was some of the biggest cultural obstacles maybe you had to deal with coming from overseas?
I don't know about having to deal with, but there was, definitely a few interesting things. I guess the main difference, one could say, is everybody here has a car, and even if you live in a town, sometimes you need a car to get from your house to the next supermarket, rather than just being able to walk. In Europe, it's very much, if it's close by, you can walk there.
Oh, yeah. Now, we understand you moved from England to Louisville, Kentucky. Was that like was it a huge cultural shock maybe for you, or did anybody help you out along the way with that move?
Oh, well, everybody at OVW helped me a lot, because everybody from OVW obviously came from different states, and so they were there to offer advice, just getting settled. Steve Lewington was really helpful because we were signed at the same time. So he, helped me, get an apartment at the apartment complex and things like that. Danny Davis was incredibly helpful to me, getting settled and things like that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but everybody there, kind of is supportive. In terms of, coming and living in Kentucky, it was interesting because we were caught in so much of a bubble, being at OVW every day and that being the main people that you hang out with. So it's more like the culture shock was to suddenly be involved in that world, just say like a little bubble that you then get to live in.
Sure. And now, speaking of OVW, who helped train you while you were there? Was there anybody specific that you trained with? Al Snow was the head trainer, who was incredible teacher and just has so much, insight and knowledge. Danny Davis. Also, he wasn't so much hands-on wrestling training, but in terms of, because he was running the TV, so in terms of, learning how to put storylines together and, offering advice with that and things like that, he was really great. And Rip Rogers as well. I went to his class a couple of times. So, yeah, lots of people. Sure.
Really, yeah.
And now, you were doing really well in OVW before getting called up to the main roster. Were you told any maybe plans that they had for you prior to coming to Raw? Was there anything else on the table for you before you made your Raw debut?
You mean besides the incest angle?
Yeah.
No, that was pretty much it. But then I had to, obviously that died before it even came into fruition. Yeah. I guess, I had to do with it, they were just switching over into the more PG arena. So that was kind of the, the transitional period for that, I guess. So that was pretty much mixed before it even started, unfortunately.
Yeah. And
I thought that could have been fun, but, I think people look at it in like a weird way, go, oh, incest, but it's not like it's never been done before successfully in film and television.
Yeah. Well,
it can be done if it's done very well. It could be, an intriguing angle, I think.
Now, so from what you say right there, I mean, you weren't uncomfortable with that angle, were you? Or was anybody else maybe working with you that maybe wasn't quite sure about it? Or how was Paul with that angle?
No, we were fine with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I was looking forward to it. It was just, unfortunate that it was just during that time period specifically.
Sure. Now, do you have maybe your favorite moment in WWE? Was there anything that happened, that maybe stood out above the rest that you always think about?
I don't know. I guess, I really loved the angle with Boogeyman, and I was very sad that didn't play out until the end. Mm-hmm. We really got unlucky with a couple of things where our angles were stopped short, due to, talent transitioning to different brands or other things like that. So the thing with Boogeyman, I really wanted to sort of see out till the end. That was pretty magical.
All right. Now, after your departure from WWE, you moved on to TNA. Were you happier to have more of maybe a character-based gimmick there?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that I really, really loved the most was having a storyline that went from week to week to week, that actually developed rather than having something that started and then stopped and then something else starting, etc. So it was really, for me, it was really wonderful to have a whole year of doing one storyline that really, developed week to week.
Sure. And now that you had, some time away from WWE and TNA, which one did you maybe enjoy the most? Can you compare them, or was it like apples and oranges, or?
Well, it's kind of hard to say because, I enjoyed both in terms of time spent there and the things that I got to do in the ring and things like that. I think, creatively, the storyline thing with TNA really was, special to me. So I would say if it was, a contest, that would win. Mm-hmm. But, also if I look back and look at some of the stuff that we did get to do in WWE, the handicap matches, and the angles with Mickey and, with Kofi and Candace and things like that, where I think, wow, we really had a lot of fun there too.
All right. Now, I always try to ask people who they've, had some of their favorite matches with, or, my question to you would be, is there some, women out there that you've, that were your favorites to wrestle so far in your career? Do you have maybe anybody favorite that you loved working with?
Yes, but there's so many. Mm-hmm. And I always dread this question because, you start saying, oh, so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, and at the end, you start, and then you stop listing them because you're like, okay, 5 is enough. And then after you get off the phone, you go, oh, no, I forgot so-and-so, So, but, yeah, definitely. I will say that, for example, Mickey James is definitely,
sure,
one of the top people. Mm-hmm. And also, Gail Kim was great, and see, now I've started. Now I can't stop. That's terrible.
No problem. So, in between wrestling for two major American companies, you spent some time in FWE in New York City. You debuted for them in 2011, and in February, you returned to the company. Is there any reason behind you coming back?
Well, I kind of I think I got burnt out for a minute. Mm-hmm. And I thought, let me not wrestle for a while and focus, on a couple of other things. And then I went and did a convention for FWE a month or two ago in New York. And as I was sort of around it and I was hanging out with everyone, Jordan put to me, why don't you do another match for us? I thought, you know what? I think that would be fun. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the story behind that.
Nice. All right. Now the current FWE Women's Champion is Candace Lorae.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on her?
Well, I think she's amazing. I think she's doing absolutely fantastic. I think that she's got the right, combination of everything. She's obviously beautiful. She also can do a lot of stuff in the ring. She's fearless. She's she loves it. You know, that's one of the most important ingredients. And she's, you know, her and Joey are making waves a little bit on the indie scene. So I think that's really exciting. It's a really exciting time for her. And so, despite the fact that I said that, obviously I will be attempting to take that title away from her. You know?
Sure.
So, you know, show her that, you know, the vet still has it.
All right.
As it were.
Sure. And now, besides wrestling, I know we talked a lot about wrestling. You currently have your own web series. Is there anything you could tell us about that and where fans can check that out too?
Yeah, well, it's up at youtube.com/Red Light Diaries. I actually came off of shooting 2 scenes today, and I shot 1 scene yesterday. I shot the pilot in September, and that's been up on YouTube since then, but I hadn't gotten around to, you know, getting to the next episodes yet. So that's just started up, and I'm extremely excited because it went really well, and I've got some really amazing talent working on that. For example, Joey Ryan is in the pilot episode, which is very exciting. And then also on what we shot yesterday, and I had Shadi Martinez and Nick Sin Bodie on the show. And so it's all very, very exciting.
Nice. And now, you know, you've been on stage and screen before. Do you have any maybe upcoming projects people can check you out, or is there anything on the back burner?
In terms of me acting?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, so I did a independent film called Middle of the Night, a smaller role in that just recently. So that'll be coming out sometime next year, I think. And then I've been doing some Shakespeare and things like that. Next Shakespeare play is coming up, I think, in June, so it'll be, March. So there'll be details on that.
Lightning round.
What is your favorite thing about winter? The season, not the wrestler.
The snow. I'm going back to Germany for Christmas, so I'll get to see some snow, so that'll be very nice.
All right. Is there a best locker room story you can tell us briefly?
Oh, goodness. No, not really. I'd have to think about that one. Maybe get back to you.
No problem. What are you doing for the holidays?
Well, I am going to Germany, where my parents are and my sisters, so I'm going to be spending the holidays with them, which is always wonderful.
All right. And what is your favorite women's wrestler of all time?
Let me think. I would say probably, I don't know. There's so many. I'll get back to you on that as well.
All right. And now, would you ever go back to either WWE or TNA if you got the phone call?
You know, it's really sort of a question of scheduling and things like that, because my focus is so much on, you know, acting and making films and things, so I wouldn't want to get caught up on a full-time basis again, you know.
Sure.
So, yeah, probably not.
Lightning round.
Where can fans keep up with you? Website, social media?
Right, so my website is Katarina'sInfamy.com. Social media at Katarina's Infamy is my Twitter. Facebook.com/Katarina's Infamy.
Perfect. Katarina, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.